If Kamala Harris wins the election, gold could surge to $10,000. Now, this is a very interesting and important conversation to have. Whether you like it or not, either Kamala or Donald Trump is going to win. And determining these factors is going to play out very interesting in the investment world, especially with silver and gold, since these are two metals that people turn to in times of economic uncertainty, hence why they're talking about gold skyrocketing if Kamala gets in office. She's already in office. But regardless, let's break down this conversation. This is an article that came out from Kitco on September 13th, so just a few weeks ago. I'm also going to share some incredible specials that we have at Miles Franklin right now, which are kangaroos for only $2.99 over spot. You heard me right. You get to get an actual coin, a bullion coin, for only $2.99. That's the price usually that you pay for generic rounds. So yeah, if you guys want to check that out, you can email me, slayer@milesfranklin.com, or call me 330-485-6172. There's so many other different options. We have junk silver, we have bars, anything you could think of gold silver wise, we have it. So hit me up, I'd be happy to help. Now, while you're subscribing, if you're new, I also wanted to mention real quick that I got dental work done yesterday, so my speech isn't the best right now. It will go away in a couple of days, but unfortunately, this is what it is. It's very frustrating being a channel where my voice is everything, but oh well, hopefully you can bear it. Gold price to surge to $10,000 under Harris administration. Gold could reach $10K an ounce if Vice President Kamala Harris wins the U.S. November election, said Peter Schiff, chairman of Schiff Gold and founder and chief market strategist of Europe Pacific Asset Management. Quote, if Kamala Harris is president, we got no chance of doing the right thing, end quote, Schiff said. The debt will increase exponentially. We'll be at 40 trillion. We could easily be at 50 trillion of total national debt during her first term if we're doing 4 or 5 trillion of debt per year, which is insane to think that that's a possibility or quite possibly will happen. But what can we do? We can kick, scream, all we can do is vote. Besides that, there's not much we can do besides prepare. And the best asset to park your hard-earned dollars in, especially in times of economic uncertainty, turmoil, war, inflation, recession, is precious metals. They're called safe haven assets for a reason. So she is going to try to blame all the problems that the government created on capitalism and use that as an excuse to implement socialist policies. Schiff told Michelle McCory, lead anchor and editor-in-chief at Kitco News, that the waning power of the U.S. dollar as the world reserve currency would be one of the drivers behind a $10,000 gold price. Now, it definitely makes sense. Just like gas prices go up, it's still, a gallon of gas you get, you just have to pay more. That same logic could apply to precious metals. It's not gold's value going up, it's just our dollars are so inflated, it takes $10,000 to equate to that. A lot of people have this backwards. It's not the price of silver and gold going up, it's the price of the dollar, the value of the dollar going down. With silver, there's a separate thing at play here though, because silver actually has value detached from spot price, detached from what a dollar is for. What do I mean? No matter who says that 1 ounce coin is worth what is irrelevant, because the coin's true value, intrinsic value, is the 1 ounce of silver inside of it. The same could be used for gold, but silver is the most highly conductive metal for thermal conductivity, electricity, and light sensitivity, and it's silver that is extremely scarce. It's silver that's needed in military and EVs and solar panels and silver lithium-ion batteries and nuclear, everything. It's silver. Goes on to say, it is difficult to see the dollar surviving as the global reserve currency through a single term of the Harris administration, according to Schiff. Now, I would love for you to comment down below your thoughts on this. It's kind of a controversial statement, but it really isn't when thinking about the bigger picture or geopolitically. I mean, we have the BRICS summit meeting on October 22nd, where 150 plus countries are coming together, possibly, potentially could be announcing their new currency, the unit, which is a digital currency backed by 40% gold, which would definitely affect the dollar, and de-dollarization is a lot more realistic if or when this comes into play. We don't know for sure if that's going to happen, but we do know that that BRICS summit meeting is happening. We also don't know if Harris is going to win. But I would love for you to let me know your thoughts on this. How optimistic are you of our dollar, of our system? See, he goes on to say, quote, our creditors are going to come to the unmistakable conclusion that we can't pay our bills, that the numbers are just too big, and that it is impossible for the U.S. government to honor its commitments, he said. So there is a video for this breakdown. What will happen? Quickly watch the video. Now, I'm not going to watch it. You guys can go watch it yourselves. I don't want to take views away. But anyways, Schiff explained that a default on U.S. debt would be a better scenario than inflating it away, which I also agree with. I think the only thing we can do is a reset. Now, what would that look like? What would it do to precious metals prices? I don't know. There's definitely no solution. The only alternative that we could do right now is preserve our wealth in precious metals until everything plays out the way it does. So Schiff explained that a default on U.S. debt would be a better scenario than inflating it away. Quote, default is the best way out of this debt situation. But if we don't have the integrity to default, politicians are going to inflate. Inflation is worse than default from the perspective of the creditors and everyone else who owns dollars, he said. People are going to lose more money to inflation than they would default. If the U.S. government defaults, it won't completely default. We would give them 30 cents on the dollar. We could reduce the debt to some manageable level. But inflation could wipe out more than 90%, maybe 99%. Who knows if we have hyperinflation? So for what it means for U.S. treasuries, the dollar and how gold could reach 10,000 an ounce is this environment. If gold's at 10,000 and we go, let's say the gold to silver ratio naturally goes back down to what it was for thousands of years, which was 16 to 1, that puts silver at $625. Now the ratio it comes out of the Earth's crust is actually 7 to 1. So if we do that, that puts silver at $1,428. Not saying that would happen, but just looking at realistically these old ratios that we went off of for a very long time back before FDR basically devalued silver in 1930 when he changed the gold to silver ratio from 16 to 1 to 75 to 1 overnight. Before that happened, that was the ratio. Silver will take on a life of its own sooner than later, since we are talking about this industrial side of things, but who knows what the ratio will go to. There's a lot of pent-up price appreciation, Schiff said. Gold has just started to rise again. We've taken out all that resistance. You're going to see a big leg up in the price of gold that will mirror the magnitude of the initial move from 300 to 1900, which is a 6-fold increase. But you're going to see that increase in a shorter time period. A lot of people say that, like 90% of the movement happens the last 10% of the leg. So why the Fed should be paying attention to gold price levels. Schiff added that the Federal Reserve should take its signals from the gold price instead of macro data it focuses on, noting that the U.S. Central Bank is about to make its next big mistake this week, or next week. The Fed claims it's data dependent, but the data it depends on is irrelevant because it's false and often gets revised. The most significant data point is the price of gold, which has recently hit a record high. In the weeks leading up to the September monetary policy meeting on September 18th, spot gold hit multiple record highs, rising well above $2,500 an ounce. Precious metals up more than 21% year to date. Schiff pointed out that this move higher in gold indicates that monetary policy is not tight enough. And you can watch this video for a warning about what the Fed rate will do to the U.S. economy. Federal chairmen have used gold's price as a critical indicator to determine whether they were on the right track with monetary policy, tightening, or easing. So Alan Greenspan, who was the Fed chairman from 1987 to 2006, said, "We're effectively on the gold standard because gold was an important way to see if monetary policy was too loose or too tight," Schiff explained. Greenspan said he looked at the price of gold, which at the time was around 350 an ounce. He said, if gold rose towards 400, I know that I'm too easy. And if it went down to 300, then I know that I'm too tight. And so he used the market signal of the gold price to know what he needed to do with monetary policy and interest rates. That's interesting. Schiff added that the current record gold price level signals that policy is not tight enough. Quote, if gold is the most important signal of monetary policy and it's at record highs of 2,500, that should be telling the current Fed Chairman Jerome Powell that monetary policy is too loose. And Powell keeps claiming that it's tight, right? This is a very interesting perspective to look at. So if it was right, gold would not be making record highs. We clearly have the wrong policy. Powell is getting ready to cut rates when he should be raising rates. That's why gold's at record highs and going much higher. So, yeah, what do you think about that? The video is here if you want to check it out yourself. Sorry again for my speech right now. It's very, very frustrating. Very frustrating. But hopefully you bear it with me. And yeah, I also wanted to mention that if you wanted to join the Secret Silver Society, it's it's a secret group for silver stackers. We do monthly giveaways, silver giveaways. We talk in the group chat, Patreon only videos. Just go to patreon.com/silverslayer. Remember, if you want to purchase, you can email me slayer@milesfranklin.com or call me 330-485-6172, and I'd be happy to help. Once again, thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure you subscribe. This is Silver Slayer. I will see you guys tomorrow. Peace.